Smiths will chime in with one apiece, so Get Right, all that's left is in a 1-on-3. Does get the first, doesn't have that bomb down, does get the second. He looks like he might pull this off. Get Right, the master. Oh, he sees him. Get Right, the most unbelievable 1v3 in the absolute pivotal time. Put him down as a result. Smith's still in the back of the side. Kiyoshima there holding B magically, but no, Peter's going to get another one. And now it's Smith's overwhelmed in the back of the side, and Peter magical in the magic moment, and he gets the third. Peter, are you absolutely out of your mind? Because I couldn't predict this.
Toodle at 100, Roka with 41, and Ska's got himself a 3K, so the save of that rifle is gigantic. Lex takes him down now. 1-versus-1 battle here. Lex versus Roka. Who's going to come out on top? Lex with less HP, and he gets it with only 4 HP.
And we are back at the start of day 2 on the Bravo stream for MLG CEVO LAN. Dust, it's good to be back tonight. Luminosity playing up against Tempo Storm tonight.
I think we're in the morning.
This morning. You know what? I'm always doing these European things, so it's always night to me.
I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
We're here in the morning. It is quite early.
It is quite early. I'm still sleepy. I just woke up.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, that's all right.
You'll get there.
You woke up earlier than me, though, because you showed up, like, what, 30 minutes prior?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I rolled out of bed, and I'm like, all right, here I am, guys.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. Should be a pretty good game we've got tonight, right? Tempo Storm put up big numbers against Virtus Pro, did a really good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Luminosity Gaming, they were on the main stage, of course, working their way over here. Any predictions? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, Luminosity definitely had a tough time yesterday. They've had a tough time, period. I think they've only played 5 maps now as a team, on LAN, and that was like the 3 maps they played at ESWC where they lost to Titan, SK, and Navi. And then, of course, they played Navi in a best-of-3 yesterday, getting 0-2 quite one-sided fashion. Let's look at Tempo Storm, however. They, yesterday, played against Virtus Pro. They played them, once again, another 0-2 series. Train, I think it was like 16-8 or something like that, or 16-9. It was a pretty decent showing from Tempo Storm there on Train. But Cash, they're actually pretty surprising.
They were impressive.
Yeah, even though they kind of had a rough time on the T side of that map, they came back on their own CT side and made it a 13-16 game. It was quite a close one. We're taking a look at some of the stats here actually from that series against Virtus Pro. As you can see, Rix, that's the one that stands out to me the most. I know it may not be the most obvious when you look at the board, but I mean, you have to understand that this was his first time ever playing international competition in CS:GO.
It's a heck of a debut to walk in.
It's only like his second LAN period in CS:GO, and the first LAN he played at was like a Fragadelphia, a very local North American LAN. So again, serious competition for his first time on LAN. I was talking to the team, talking to Warden, their coach. He talked about how Rix was a bit nervous about how he would do his first time at an event like this. He's quite impressive online, but we always wonder how those players are going to transition to LAN. And I have to say that yesterday he's playing up against Virtus Pro, one of the top 8 teams in the world, where his team's probably not even people's radars right now as far as international rankings go, and he put up pretty impressive numbers. I mean, he had the highest ADR on the team. He was, I think, their second-place fragger overall. I thought that he really stood out yesterday.
It's a heck of a thing to go up against a team like Virtus Pro on your first LAN ever. You expect to get completely wrecked, and as you pointed out, Tempo Storm did quite well, especially on their CT sides, putting up 13 points on Cash. I don't think anybody really expected that. Another player that I think put up impressive numbers, he wasn't rocking it on the efficacy, he had a lot of deaths, but he scored some efficient kills, was Shazam, the AWPer. It looked like he was kind of coming back to form at this point. What do you think about Shazam tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Shazam, he did put up good numbers. He was their top fragger, so he was the only person who actually went positive whenever you look at the actual, KD. He had, I think, close to 30 frags against Virtus Pro from the CT side. Overall on the map, he had about 30 kills. He had probably about 20 plus or so on the CT side in that game on Cash. So, yeah, he definitely looked quite good yesterday. For a guy who definitely had his highs and lows with Cloud9, he looked, quite good yesterday. He put up some good numbers. The only thing I would say is I really wish he would stop being left as the LMS. It seems like very often he's kind of the last man standing, and I think he's just much better in an entry position. especially with the op on T side leading in,
Sure.
grabbing picks. I feel like too often he's kind of like has the op, he's going to be the playmaker, but a lot of people are already dead. He's kind of like last left with an op trying the clutch, and I think he's just much more efficient, and I hope to see him more active in the entries in this particular game, but definitely some good numbers. And let me just give this final note about Tempo Storm. When you look at that board, the frag distribution just in general was quite tight. They were only maybe a few frags apart. I guess Automatic was a little bit lower, but the other four were really tight.
On the one map, I counted it, and the difference was, what, 4 kills from top to bottom. Right. So, I mean, clearly it's a team that's firing on all cylinders. No one's really doing a carry, and no one's really underperforming either.
Yeah, like I said, it's very, very tight. I mean, like I said, especially coming from people like Ricks and even Stanislaw. Stanislaw hasn't really played very many LANs either. I think he played like in the ESWC qualifiers for 2014 when he was playing with Mobility. That's really one of the only LANs I've seen him at against, decent competition. He's the in-game leader for this team.
Right.
Online, very smart, patient player.
He did some real smart plays on Cash,
too.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. He had some great clutch plays even on Train to win a couple rounds that they got on the CT side there in the first half. So really the whole team looked good. Roka obviously was looking really good on Train as well on the CT side. He kind of got him some big rounds.
What about Automatic, though? I thought Automatic as the lurk, even on CT doing this sort of counter lurk sort of action, he did some really impressive plays. Sometimes it didn't quite add up because he didn't run into the opponents, but he was in positions where you'd never expect, right? Yeah,
I mean, Automatic's probably the one, Automatic and Shazam are probably the two most experienced players on this team. Obviously all the experience Shazam game with Cloud9. And then when you saw Automatic playing with Nihilum or Nihilum, playing at the ESCA, playing against teams like Virtus Pro. I mean, he had a little bit of experience coming in here, and he's been a very impressive rifler. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, they have a good team. We're looking at Automatic stats here. This was from yesterday. Definitely a bit of a struggle there for him on his debut, but I expect here against, Luminosity, a team he's more familiar with, like a team that's not quite as up there as Virtus Pro. I think that he definitely can be a bit better. Like I said, I thought he was like one of Nylum's best fraggers when he was on that team throughout the middle of this year. And coming onto this team, I thought that he was a solid pickup. I mean, honestly, within the North American scene, I think Tempo Storm has really grabbed some of these pieces that were kind of left behind or removed to make other moves, and they've really put together a pretty solid, skilled team within the scene.
Yeah, exactly. They've been the wild card coming into this event, and going up against Virtus Pro, they put up some pretty big numbers. I just pulled up the historical stats for Automatic on my system here. Historically, he actually outperforms what he did yesterday, but you can't expect perfection going up against a team like Virtus Pro. I mean, we call them Virtus Plow for a reason, and just to take as many points as they did is a victory.
Like I said, I think within the NA scene, that trio of like Automatic, Ricks, and Roka, which are going to be three of your primary rifles, the ones, really entering the sights for you with rifles, they're all really aggressive by nature. I know Automatic has taken a little bit more of a lurking position where he's been more of an entry fragger in the past, where it's kind of Ricks and Roka really being the main ones to kind of take entries, but Automatic will still be calling at times to take those point positions, especially if he's like lurking one side of the map and that's where they want to eventually go. He's not going to wait for someone to rotate all the way across the map to lead in. He'll be the one to start pressing the issue, and he can definitely do that. So I think that trio is quite good. And obviously Shazam, when he's hot with the op, he does have really, really good aim.
He can be a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he may not be like the most clutch player, but he's definitely a good aimer, and I think he can especially have an impact if he's used more in the early round.
Yeah. Solid offer all around. I mean, Tempo Storm is a team that's been rocked by a lot of roster changes, too. Relatively new group. They just recently shifted with releasing, Hades and Glorins. Picking up Roka and then Rush. And then, of course, Rush changed his mind.
And went back to Elevate.
Should go back to Elevate, which is why we're sitting here with Automatic. And
which I think is a better player, to be honest. I think they actually got the better end of the deal at the end of the day. And just going to what you're saying, very new team. Lucky. Before this LAN event, they had only played one best-of-3 in an official setting. It was an RGN Pro League match that they played, and that was literally the only league play that this five had together. And that was just a few days ago.
That's a game they should have won, because I think you and I watched it at the same time. It was versus Counterlogic Gaming.
Yeah, it was a 1-2 series. They one of the maps they lost 13-16. They actually had a map win on caching in CLG, which is pretty powerful.
A lot of force buying where probably they shouldn't have.
Right, but either way,
overconfidence.
that's only 3 maps they played before this land. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a situation where they don't have live experience together. They showed some promise yesterday
Right.
against Virtus Pro. I think they are a favorite in the series. I mean, maybe not like a crazy heavy favorite, but I think, 60-40, 65-35,
Right.
something like that, leaning more towards Tempo Storm side. But
I would agree with that. Now, HLTV doesn't. It's currently looking at 54% in favor of Luminosity Gaming, and I think that's just because Luminosity carries so much more stock. And the rosters, well, not the rosters, but the teams have gone head-to-head before in CEVO and in ESEA, and Luminosity's come out ahead every single time. Big numbers, 16-6, 16-9.
right. But like with different rosters, though, so it's like really, really hard to know for sure if that'll kind of hold.
Yeah, it's
but
different.
Let's take a actual look at Luminosity now. We've been talking about Tempo Storm most of this time. Let's actually, give some love over here to Luminosity. Of course, like I said, they're also quite a brand new team. Before coming into this event, they have played a couple of online games together as a 5. Of course, bringing in Devil Walk. That was a really recent addition.
Big move.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, they've only really played like a couple of RGN games online. They had
Right.
ESWC together. Like Devil Walk had joined the team. 3 days later, he was playing with them at ESWC for those 3 maps that they lost. And then obviously yesterday they had a rough time with Navi. No fans or buts about that.
That was a 16-3 game on Overpass.
Right.
Very disappointing. And then 16-8 on Dust 2. I was talking to our casters who were covering that matchup, and they said Peter was making really big plays. He was representing for the team, but as far as a whole teamwork dynamic, it all just fell apart.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, he actually had a pretty good game on Dust 2 with the op yesterday. He is their best player stats flash from yesterday. You can see he actually had close to 90 ADR. He definitely had, I guess, the closest to a positive KD. But you look at the rest of the board, no, it's definitely
Those
some
are not
struggles
good
there.
numbers.
No, not at all. Especially, there's 2 really key players I feel Luminosity has to have perform aside of Peter's op for them to be successful. One of those guys
Hi
is
there.
the guy who just waved to you. That's going to be Anger.
He
Always had
doesn't
a,
look too angry, does he?
No, he doesn't.
No.
He never really does.
He's chill.
He's pretty chill. But, I mean, those are just numbers that you got to have Anger improve upon. I mean, he always had this reputation in the A scene coming from Counter-Strike sources, being this really heavy aimer. He had some decent, streaks of play, playing with, like that short amount of time with complexity. But this year, at least, like ever since he was playing with Denial, like at the end of last year and coming into this year, transitioning to his Luminosity team, he just hasn't looked like the same Anger that I'm used to seeing from like early to mid 2014. Not only that, but you see how well he plays online. When he transitions to LAN, it just hasn't clicked for him.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he's a guy that can eventually find. I think it's more of a mental thing for him at this point, not really skills.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a completely different experience when you get in here. So right now, we're just getting ready to set up the teams, jump into the server, and get underway. If you are just tuning in, this is Day 2 MLG CEVO LAN Tempo Storm versus Luminosity Gaming coming your way. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this. And we're back. Looks like vetoes are already underway, Dust.
Right.
Bans, Train, and Overpass coming in. Any surprises there?
I don't know. Maybe like Luminosity hasn't really played Train a whole lot. I haven't really seen him play Train ever. Maybe they kind of caught wind of kind of how well that at least Tempo Storm's able to put up a decent fight against First Person there in Train, so that could have played into it as well. Tempo Storm getting rid of Overpass. I guess
no
that's,
surprise there.
Yeah, it's like actually one of their most popular bans during online play.
They've
even though
always
it's a different
banned
roster. They still, had like Stanislaw, who was
different
in-game
roster
leading. So
yeah, different roster. You still have the same sort of tactics
Right.
in place, or perhaps lacking on a map like Overpass. I'm not sure. I'd like to talk to Warden and see exactly what it is. But he was really guarded yesterday about map choices,
absolutely.
vetoes, as you'd expect. You don't want the other team to find out at all.
Right. So then we had our picks, and it was in fact Tempo Storm who picked Cash. And then
I'm not surprised one
no,
bit
not,
after the
not how
Virtus
they
Pro.
looked yesterday. Yeah. And then we did have Luminosity Gaming pick up Dust 2 as their pick. So that is going to be the two maps we will see for sure. If we do need a third map, it will be Cobblestone.
Yeah, Dust 2. It's only the second time they've ever picked it in CEVO this season, but they've done very well every time they played. 80% win percentage, 4-1 for Luminosity Gaming. So they're definitely playing to their strengths. And maybe playing to Tempo Storm's weaknesses a little bit, too. You see Tempo Storm banning Dust 2 quite a lot and not winning a whole lot.
Right, yeah, so we're just taking a look here. So just kind of going over it again, we did see that Overpass ban for Tempo Storm, the ban of Train from Luminosity, D2 and Cash, the two picks. And then we will see, like I said, Cobblestone on the third map if need be.
If it goes to overtime, Dust, Luminosity Gaming, they've banned Cobble more than anything else, right? 8 bans total this season. Never played it in CEVO. Do you think that might shift momentum towards Tempo Storm if they can just take one map?
I'm not sure. Like, the only time I've really seen Tempo Storm play Cobble either is when they played that series against CLG and RGN, and they lost it in a close series. So maybe they have
That's
a bit
true.
more experience on Cobblestone than Luminosity does, so that third map could play in their favor. I think Tempo Storm wins this series no matter what now due to the vetoes. I think that they at least 2-1 because I really do feel Tempo Storm's going to win Cash. When it comes to Dust 2, it's kind of a toss-up for me. Maybe Luminosity can win their pick. Maybe Tempo Storm edges them out. If we go to that third map, which will be Cobblestone, I actually probably give Tempo Storm just a slight nod because it's kind of the known. Like, I've seen Tempo Storm play Cobble. I know what they can do. I've never really seen this 5 of Luminosity. Oh, I have actually seen them play Cobble at ESWC, and it didn't really work out well for them. And even when they had NAF on the team prior to that, playing at the ESL event, when they had NAF, they also kind of struggled on Cobblestone there as well. So it's kind of the known, what limited information I do have. I kind of feel Tempo Storm have a slight edge there in Cobblestone, but like I said, it's very limited data, so it's really hard to read. But I just think that Tempo Storm showed me a little bit more yesterday than Luminosity did.
Well, I mean, clearly Tempo Storm is very well practiced on a map like Cash. They went up against Virtus Plow, and they managed to take a very solid CT side. It was on their T side where Tempo Storm really struggled. So I imagine they probably went back to the hotel, did a little bit of thinking and talking about this. And as long as they can, I don't know, come in with a little different strategy or maybe get the entry kills against Luminosity that they couldn't get against Virtus Pro, they have a really good chance here.
Let's talk about Luminosity a little bit because we didn't get to talk about it as much because we had like a little tech glitch we had to fix out. But now, talking about Luminosity going into this game before it starts a bit more. We talked about how Anger need to see him really step up and play well. It seems like it's been a while since I've seen him have like a really big impact on LAN. It's also like up to Pitt. Like Pitt has actually been the one guy I've seen play on LAN that's looked actually pretty decent at ESWC. So I'm expecting him to be able to play well. He's actually the second guy who actually at least showed us a little bit of something against Navi on Dust 2 yesterday. Then obviously Peter's out. That's something they're going to need to be able to implement effectively in those duels against Shazam, or even if they're not meeting up directly, just being able to still have an impact. And without further ado, we are in it to map number 1 here, as we will get that in-game sound in. Yep, there it is. And this round about to go live. Luminosity on the CT side to start things off. Tempo Storm on T side. And let's get it going here, as it looks like Tempo Storm just looking to lay into that B-bomb site real heavy.
Yeah, old-fashioned B-rush. They're not even trying to hide it. Shots are fired. Anger's going to get overwhelmed by the numbers. Not much you can do as Stanislaw breaks into the site. You see 2 rotators already in position. That's going to be Devil Walk and Peter. But they're smoked off. There's not much you can do while the bomb goes down.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to swarm the site here at Tempo Storm, they're able to lay in. They get the bomb planted. Rix and Shazam holding off rotations. Just Peter and Pitt left. They're both trying to come in through the smoke on lower CT. They do make it in. And there's 2 playing torch checkers. Rix peeks out, just trying to bait some shots here. Shazam hiding in the checkers. Good crossfire setup, and Tempo Storm closes it out.
Yeah, that's the way it's done. Kind of a risky play, doing a straight up B rush. They didn't really sit outside, hide what they're doing, try to sell a fake at all. They just rushed in, got the entry frag in a 1v4, 1v5 situation, and the one smoke really sealed the deal, allowing for the bomb plant. Great play.
Indeed, so with Tempo Storm leading, they will of course be able to upgrade here, getting a bunch of SMGs, so really laying into that SMG meta. You know, definitely going to try to rake up that extra money that the SMG kill bonus is going to give you going into the opening gun. Now we see a huge stack at the A-bomb site here from Luminosity, but unfortunately for them,
Here's Shazam.
yeah, you know, it's just there's nobody there, so the stack's not going to work out. Some upgraded pistols to at least be saved here from Luminosity, but that's about it.
Yeah, he just had Devil Walk sitting all alone in checkers, and Shazam was able to just walk in with the SMG, get the kill. Dust,
Right.
what do you do on this sort of a retake? It's 5 versus 4.
You don't. I mean, you just save these upgraded pistols, and you can like put together a similar stack next round and hope that you can still try to bank something there. A little bit conservative. I mean, you usually see teams like actually buy some small armor with these upgraded pistols and really give yourself a shot, especially if you can get like CZ armor, 5.7 armor. That can be very powerful. And Lex actually is able to lurk in here and grab a kill on the Shazam. Will he be able to collect the gun? No automatic there to prevent that. But yeah, I mean, at least the SMP 250s to roll with next round and still pose like some slight threat.
Well, rolling into round number 3, obviously no money in the hands of Luminosity Gaming. I'm really curious to see what Luminosity is capable of doing. I saw an interview with Devil Walk. Of course, he's new. They brought him all the way in from Europe. Former coach with Fnatic.
Right.
And he said he wants to really rebuild the team and restructure them from the ground up. So who knows?
Right.
We could see some new stuff.
I will point out one thing people may not know is Lex is actually in-game leading for the team now. Devil Walk's helping him develop stuff. He's kind of helping coach the team, but when it comes to the actual live matches, Lex actually leading the charge, is getting kind of suggestions and maybe mid-round reads from Devil Walk. Devil Walk wanted to be able to, you know, focus a bit better on fragging, but still be able to help develop the team, as you said. So it was Lex, you know, doing the IGO nowadays.
We see the A site going down super quickly with an aggressive T-push, and look at this. They are not even going to guard the site. Roka sits back, and we've got the hit squad chasing down Anger and Peter. Shazam peeks around the corner, taking that one kill, and Peter's left hiding with very, very little health. 2 health, actually, at a P250, trying to get some sort of exit frag. Dust, it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really much to do there. I mean, it's the 3rd round. You know, usually if CT teams are going to try to put any type of investment into winning, breaking, you know, the 3-0 streak early, it usually comes on round number 2. If it doesn't work out, round number 3 is usually just kind of a breeze, and that's what you saw there. Tempo Storm just mopping it up. But opening gun round coming into play. Peter going to have his op. So is Shazam, and then, of course, the 4 rifles in play. So this is going to be our first really cool round to see maybe kind of the pace of this game.
Yeah, it's all up to Luminosity Game to turn this thing around on CT defense. You can see a big boost strategy going on. At least 2 players up there. Shazam, I don't know if that was a mistake or whatnot. He fell off the top, but now he's going to retake his position off, watching down mid. Everything's smoked off nicely. And there's a lot of options.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Luminosity is basically giving up mid. Peter actually backing up and just watching mid, the highway from quad, doubling up over here with Pit. So a lot of map control being exercised here by Tempo Storm. They can do a lot with this. Roka coming off his traditional squeaky door position he used to play with Elevate, actually playing up the highway with Shazam and Rick. So being, like I said, really involved in those entry positions, while Automatic also playing kind of a hybrid lurk. He's by himself, but he's also really taking pokes into the A-bomb site from the lobby. But now they're backing off. They may try to run some type of mid-to-beast, but I think they realize that they've kind of pushed a 3rd player into A.
Yeah, having mid control is so important because they could go either way once they got enough information to kind of think that maybe there's 3 players A. Now you see the vent and wraparound push. Roka and Shazam both already in vents. There's going to be 1 kill taken down, leaving Anger all alone in the site. Look at all the T's. Lots of damage done, but not meant to be. The site's going to be taken by TS and should be a bomb plant and really a point.
Yeah, I mean, Tempo Storm just did well here, you know, getting that mid control, forcing Peter back, who's playing more passive in the CT connector. They shoved him over to the A side of the map. You got 3 basically blocked down over there. Then they're able to split B, good Molotovs inside the site to push people out of position. And then they just won those duels. Rix comes in there, you know, the rest of the team just swarms in. They get, you know, kind of a 4v1 against Devil Walk as Anger's hiding in the site, and they get a 4v1 against against Anger. They just overrun it. So well done by Tempo Storm on the opening gun round. Peter trying to save this op because that's all they'll really have next round money-wise, and he's not able to. So Tempo Storm already up 4-0. Great chance of getting a 5-0 lead here with Luminosity, on a save.
Well, that's two absolutely huge wins for Tempo Storm, right? They got the pistol round, which almost guarantees the first 3, and then they win the first gun round, which sets them up for a massive success going forward right here. Luminosity stuck with nothing but P250s and a dream rolling out of the gate. Looks like a biased 3A, 0 mid, 2B defense.
Yeah, it looks pretty similar. I mean, I wonder if they're just going to keep giving up mid like this, if Luminosity, or if they're eventually going to kind of 1-3-1 it and kind of contest it, because I feel giving that up for free is really dangerous. But look at the damage being dealt here. Peter pushing in, aggressive at A main, but he's only able to find one. He will get cleared out, and Tempo Storm looking like they're going to roll this round over, lead 5-0.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? You expect him to be completely overrun. You may as well play some of the aggression. Here's double walk. And Anger trying to do some work, but Roka takes that really tight angle on the right, peaks at just the right time, forcing 2 1v1s, gets the 2K, and now Tempo Storm's already up 5-0. Looking like a bit of a blowout. Luminosity needs to turn this thing around quickly on this buy.
Yeah, especially on a map that does have a CT bias. I mean, it's not crazy heavy CT bias like an Inferno or something like that, but definitely you see teams usually put up more rounds on the CT side. So the 5-0 start from Tempo Storm from Terrace is definitely a bit concerning, I'm sure, but this is only Luminosity's really second crack at the game. And look, they are putting a lot more emphasis at mid. They're putting those 3 guys there. They're trusting Pit to anchor that A bomb site, who can be quite good on that particular position, from what I've seen in the past. And yeah, let's see how this pans out, as we're just kind of seeing Tempo Storm really gather up at A. They're looking to split this. Stanislaus at Squeaky Door, looking like they might, just try to wrap this A bomb site. Maybe Stan going to throw that smoke. He's lining it up. The smoke off the box right as you open the door. It's a fast exploding smoke. They're going to try to wrap the site.
Oh, Pit.
Perfect position for this in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. The problem is by taking the Squeaky player, he gives his position away and gets quickly overrun. Flashbangs all over the place. The T's are in sight. Roka doing some work on the other side. Smokes are thrown, but Rix is still going to be able to push up. Should be able to plant the bomb in safety, leaving Anger all alone for a 1v3 retake.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for Anger. We'll follow him, though, see if he can make a play happen. He does spot one at the forklift. He does grab the headshot there through the bars. And so now he has the 1v2, which is going to be Rix playing Fawn.
Evens it up a bit.
Yeah, Shazam over at A main with the outs. They have a good crossfire. It's going to be tough for Anger.
Yeah, Anger, he's going to get spotted. Yeah, Anger's looking to the right, trying to find Shazam, but Rix peeks the corner and just shoots him right in the side like that. 6-0, Tempo Storm. Yet another gun round victory for Tempo Storm.
That makes me wonder if Anger's like playing 4x3, because we actually saw him on the widescreen. We saw Rix step out a quad. And you could see him clear as day, so I don't know if maybe Anger just missed it or if his monitor resolution didn't allow him to see that, but that actually really hurt him there. But just going back to the tactic, some people know that tactic is like veggie wrap because they heard Cloud9's comms, but Envy actually innovated that tactic with Happy doing it. Like I said, fast exploding smoke. There's no telegraph smokes coming over the building. It's really fast, and you just wrap the site. Pit wasn't like a one and done spot, but you can't do much from there. And yeah, it's just another eco mop-up round. So Tempo Storm about to be up 7-0.
Yeah, you see Rick just walk outside of A main, getting a 2K like he owns the place. He's going to go down to Pit over there, but already everybody on Tempo Storm has mopped up the rest. Coming down highway, you're going to see a kill on Pit. No need to plant the bomb. 7-0. Bit of a blowout.
Oh, yeah, this is looking a little bit rough right now. But Luminosity, this is kind of their third attempt now. Third attempt with full guns. Like I said, they did put some emphasis on mid because that was their first gun and was lost because of the mid control for Tempo Storm. They put some more emphasis there. They trusted Pit at A. Unfortunately, he's kind of playing a spot that's kind of a one-and-done spot. And when you're anchoring a site, that's not really that good to play one-and-done spots like that. And that certainly played into it as well. But here we are seeing CT's contest mid once again, but still able to slip out is Tempo Storm. But we haven't even exchanged so far. Peter actually able to take down Shazam, but oh my goodness.
This is ugly. Yeah, lots of kills going on in mid. Peter's all alone. Stanislaus going to walk around the corner, find that kill, and now the bomb site belongs to just 2 surviving members of Tempo Storm. Pit on the rotate coming through. He's going to go ahead and choose to go heaven, checking the bomb site. Unfortunately, the T's are not there. Probably going to get exposed. Yeah, 2 guns on your face. It's probably not going to happen. That's Rix with the kill.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually really insane. Like, you see them just do a mid to B split. You actually see an equal exchange where Shazam's able to get a pick, but so is Peter with his op inside the B bomb site. So it's even. It's a 4-on-4. But, man, the snap of a finger, Tempo Storm just grabs 3 frags. Like, I couldn't even follow. It was so fast, those 3 frags. And those 3 really fast kills just kind of turns it from a 4v4 to all of a sudden the dude's in a 1v3. It was just crazy.
Virtually unwinnable at that point.
Yeah. I mean, he got it into a 1v2 there at the very, very end, but still couldn't come up with it. And this has to be a tactical timeout for Luminosity. They're probably wondering what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Well, they're favored to win by all accounts. Disregard Tempo Storm's performance on Cash against Virtus Pro. Luminosity Gaming, they've beat Tempo Storm every single time they've met in recent history. Yeah, different rosters, same team. And all of a sudden, they're getting steamrolled 8-0.
Yeah, just like I said, I think Tempo Storm's actually made some upgrades, to be honest. Like, losing Glorange, losing Hades, bringing in Automatic, bringing in Roka. I mean, these are huge upgrades that Tempo Storm made. So I think it's really hard to I mean, obviously the leadership's probably about the same, like Stanislaw and Rick's kind of being the captains of the team. And then also you brought in Warden as a coach who adds probably a lot. I mean, you see him back there. He's talking to the team. He's actively involved. He's been helping them with practice as well. So they really are just kind of a brand new team, to be honest. And this is their debut, and they looked decent against VP yesterday, and they're just wrecking Luminosity right now.
I mean, Warden, he does bring a heck of a lot of experience to the front. He's been playing. I remember casting him from way back in the 1.5, 1.6 days.
Right.
If anybody's going to shape your team into a real all-star, it's going to be a former pro player like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, this is Luminosity. After their timeout, what can they do? Tempo Storm setting up for more of, like, this is actually a huge fake. They're throwing, like, the more telegraphed smokes over A rather than that fast exploding smoke. They're putting Rokador to
going to A.
Yeah, Rokador being annoying, but this is definitely a B hit. And look at the rotation. Everyone's at A except for Devilwalk, who's just going to get smoked off lower CT. Automatic and Roka putting the continued pressure as well, keeping all those people at A. Really selling it well.
Yeah, but look how slow this push into B site is. They finally start walking in. Devilwalk goes the wrong way, tries to go heaven. Let's see if he can find a kill. The odds are overwhelmingly stacked against him with 2 players on site. He gets mollied, then shot by Stanislaw. So you're in a 3 versus 3. Bomb's already been planted, and this heavily, heavily favors Tempo Storm. Let's see how the retake goes. There's 1 kill outside. B main. Lex caught in a bad position. Peter, too. Both down. It's all up to Anger in a 1v2 clutch game from Heaven. That's Anger, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he really can. I mean, yes, see the economy. They're on max loss bonus, so $3,400 coming in. But that's, like, everyone's bought down to, like the highest money is $750. So the highest amount of money they're going to have next round, it's going to be, what, $4,150? And a lot of the guys are just going to be, like, barely over $3,400. So they kind of have to say this one in for us to be able to do, like, another FAMAS force. But once again here, Tempo Storm, that's the first fake they've thrown all game. Yeah. Everything else, it's been pretty straightforward. Mid-control to A split, fast A hit, fast B split. Now that they throw the telegraph smokes at A, everyone bites on it. Roka able to continue to apply pressure with frags, and Automatic also adding to that pressure, not with frags, but at least being a number there. And, I mean, they sold that well, and Luminosity really bid on that, and that hurt him a lot.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a 2-pronged thing. You go 8 rounds in a row acting predictable, and it works, so there's no reason to change. Luminosity, they've got no reason to doubt.
The aggression from Luminosity at Squeaky Hall, able to pick up a couple of kills here. They have a 5-on-3. This is the best situation they've had all game. Hopefully they can close this. If they can't win this round, it's going to be a short day for them if they can't close out this one. This is the round they got to win.
Yeah, well, it's looking really good. We're in a 3 versus 5 situation. Pretty good buy from Luminosity Gaming, and you're going to see a big gambit from mid control. Interesting for Luminosity, though, no one's watching mid.
Yeah, so, I mean, the passive on mid, this is okay, though. They're just playing numbers. They're playing together. They understand the numbers here, but Rix does slip out mid. With Shazam, Stanislaw going in, so they're going to pinch up the A-bomb site. See if Lex, Pit, and Peter can hold this off. Peter does step out. He grabs Shazam. So this is good news here. I think LG should be able to close this.
Yeah, those 2 picks early off really limited Tempo Storm's options. Going into mid, I don't know, that might not have been the best spot, because if you get stalled out, you can get pinched in from so many different angles.
Well, I mean, it's just a numbers game at that point. It was always going to be tough for Tempo Storm to win a 5 versus 3. Luminosity's changing things up, finally getting aggressive. That's the first time I've seen them push a site this entire game. They've obviously, at times, actually committed some numbers to mid after they lost a few rounds there, but that was them actually getting aggressive on a site, so that's definitely a big change-up. But now they're going 1-3-1 again, 3 mid, Peter anchoring B with the op, Pit anchoring A. He's in a much better anchor position now, actually inside the site, not in kind of a corner that's easily traded. And so let's see, here's that fast A hit again, that envious, that veggie wrap type play, and here it comes, wrapping the site on Pit.
Yeah, Pit hides in smoke, gets 1 kill, deals with a player over at Forklift, jumps back into the smoke. Look at the way he's playing this stuff. He jumped in, out of the smoke, finally goes down, giving up site control to the T's, but already rotators coming in from behind. Peter, all alone, gets 1 kill, but he's stuck behind smoke.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a 1 versus 3 with the op. The bomb is actually down for right now, so at least hasn't been planning yet. That gives him a little bit more time. But, I mean, retaking 1v3 with an op, that's asking a bit much out of him here.
This is kind of bad for Luminosity Gaming, right? They won one
Kind of
round.
bad?
Well,
this is really bad.
It's a travesty. Who are we kidding? But no, look, Luminosity Gaming, they were on this massive losing streak. The good thing about that, right, you're at max money, so you can always buy, force buy, do all sorts of stuff like that. But now they bought so heavily, they got the 1 round, their money was reset.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, their finances aren't completely wrecked, but they don't have a whole lot of options at this point.
No, not at all. And once again, it's just that fast A hit, that fast A wrap. Like I said, we know Cloud9 calls it veggie wrap. Everyone laughed about it because they heard the cons. But like I said, it's something that Envious really innovated. That's where Cloud9 got it from. It's non-telegraphed. It's very quick. You wrap that site player. It's really effective against 1-3 run setups. And in fact, you kind of attack into those highway rotators while they're out of position and running, maybe even with their nades out and stuff like that. And that worked out well for Tempo Storm. Luminosity buying what they can, but it's not a whole lot. As you mentioned, their money got reset, so they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to put something together. But Lex comes up with the 2 entries with the FAMAS at mid, so another good start for Luminosity. Can they close the round?
It's aggressive mid presence by Luminosity. They were able to get 2 picks real fast. Automatic and Roka. Star player is really down, and there goes Rix as well. So it's going to leave Shazam alone with an AWP, and then Stanislaus sitting in mid. They're going to pick up the bomb, and you just make a decision, go towards one site, and that kill is very unfortunate. Stanislaus down, and then Shazam's just going to get out off by Pit.
Right on. So finally, Luminosity winning themselves another round. I mean, they have to win out just to survive at this point, I feel like. A lot of struggles here from Luminosity. Looking over at the scoreboard, we had tab open there. Anger 1 and 8, really struggling here on the CT side. No one really doing that well except for Peter's op, to be honest. And Lex has had some okay rounds. You look over at the other side, however, Rix and Roka, both in the double digits, both entering really well for this team. Everyone else not too far behind, however. You know, Stanislaus and Shazam both at 9 frags apiece. So definitely, once again, a pretty even team effort from Tempo Storm, just as it was yesterday against Virtus Pro. Everyone really contributing.
Yeah, Peter represented big time versus Na'Vi alone, and it looks like the same story. Look at this huge B site execute going on. Stanislaus is going to drop the bomb at the B site, and we've got Anger, Pith, and Peter on the retake. Problem is, you've got these smokes. They can't make a move.
Yeah, right. Now they're just kind of pinned down once again, trying to do some spams, trying to get something going here. But once again, they just can't. They don't really have any type of foothold into the site to really make a retake happen. I mean, all their B forces went down there, and you know, they're in a 3v4 trying to retake. Smokes are going up, counter nades, picks. They just can't get in there, and they're forced to save again. They have to give Tempo Storm an 11th round. There's
1 pick. I mean, that's a slight moral victory, but I don't think it's going to do a whole lot of economic damage to Tempo Storm. They're going to win this round. They're going to get the money for detonated bomb. 11 and 2. I mean, what an incredible score line, and what a turnaround for Tempo Storm. The big question mark of this event.
Yeah, I mean, Stanislaus and Warden as the coach are calling a good game right now. I mean, their side executes are really well done. They seem really polished and really well prepped. They're calling good fakes to catch Luminosity off guard. I mean, they're just playing a good game. They're taking what they're being given, which in many cases is mid control.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they're just playing a solid game. Everyone's firing all cylinders on that team, fragging wise, and like I said, they're tactically playing quite well against Luminosity, who are really struggling to find kills, especially on that B bomb site in particular. They're really having a tough time holding there.
Again with the very passive mid strat. It's not going to matter though, because smokes go down on A site, and here comes a very fast execute once again. Walking through the smoke. Peter's finding a nice kill before he gets traded out and shut down. Site control belongs to the T. Shazam's going to walk around the corner and plant.
Right.
And let's see, how's this retake go? Anger from truck, and then 2 guys going mid.
Yeah, they're smoked off from highway, though, so this is delaying the retake quite a lot. And Tempo Storm, even when Luminosity was well set up for that A hit, that's actually some really good position. It's still an even trade, which always favors the Terrors, especially with the post plant. So Anger, though, catching Shazam peeking a bit too much, and so it's all up to Rix, 1 versus 2 from A main. The bomb,
I don't think...
Is it planted for him?
I don't think he can see it from his position. Doesn't matter. Devil Walk just walks around. Yeah, it was in fact planted for A main, but that's what Devil Walk's there for. You know, cover your teammate, get the kill. and that's a critical round win for Luminosity Gaming. They're just going to have to go on some massive victory streak at this point to hang on to cash.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things right now where that was actually a solidly played round. I mean, Tempestone goes for like a pretty set telegraphed A hit. Luminosity makes the proper rotation. They're in good positions. Peter from quad at least getting a kill. Allowing that rotate to come in. They keep it at an even 3-on-3, which does kind of favor Tempestone even at that point, but a well-done retake at the very end there. And now it's the last round of the half. Absolute needed win here for Luminosity, like I said, just to kind of survive.
That pop flash double walk. Check it out. Gets a 2K, almost gets a 3K. Sitting in that position just outside of B main. Sight goes down, Anger sitting in the corner, gets overrun, and now that's a sight take. Molly's smokes are going to go down as well, just preventing the rotate. I think we can call this most likely going to be Tempo Storm's round again.
We'll see. I mean, that bomb definitely could at least get planted here from Shazam, but he's kind of waiting it out, knowing he might get pushed the moment that he tries to go for it, but Rick's able to find a kill. But now it's Shazam in a 1v2 with an op stuck in the site with low HP, so this is a tough spot to be in for him.
Yeah, absolutely. They know exactly where he is. All they have to do is wrap around the corner, and Lex is able to find that kill when Shazam pokes his head out. And plenty of time, even without a defuser, able to pick up the defuse. It's something at the end of the first half, right? 11-4. Luminosity better have one heck of a T side.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the only round I really saw any type of aggression on the B side of the map from Luminosity. You saw earlier when they took a timeout, they were having a tough time. They put some aggression on at A to change things up, and it won them a round with the Squeaky Hall push. That round, things were getting tight. They decided to actually get a little bit aggressive at B, playing, you know, like that was the most pressed up B I've ever seen Devil walk the entire game. You know, just playing the box. Usually he's like lower CT or Heaven. So finally getting him up front, he got a couple of kills, and then you saw there's actually a gap in the smoke that the Terrorists threw at lower CT, so Peter's opping that crack and getting free kills. And that was a slight error on the smoke that also really helped out Luminosity on that retake at B.
That's the thing about those smokes. I mean, if you don't throw it just right, it can completely wreck your strategy.
Right.
It looked like Luminosity almost did the inverse of Tempo Storm's big fake strategy, right? You play so predictably, play the same sort of thing every single round. And then the one time you switched up, you can really catch a team off guard.
Yeah, so I mean, Luminosity at least able to give us a little bit of something there towards the end of the half to make it 4-11, but they're still well behind. Definitely need the pistol round here. Without a pistol round victory, this could be over quite quickly. You do see them tanking Pit. He buys armor. They drop him a Tech 9. Very, very cool tactic. I mean, you see Olaf Meister do it for Fnatic. You see them do it with Shroud on Cloud 9. And look at this push from Roka. He gets caught, however. LG waiting for that.
Yeah, that's a 2K. Rex is in a fallback position, though. Gets a 2K and is fighting the good fight. Hides in the corner. Buys just enough time for Stanislaw to come rotating in from vents. He's going to take a 1v1 with Anger before backing off. Lex is in the bomb site, but, I mean, he's already got pressure coming in from Shazam. Stanislaw on the rotate. Really big round for Luminosity. They do get the plant, and they have 3 strong.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Luminosity just really, you know, counter-stratting Tempo Storm, understanding the deep push was probably coming, just waiting for it and taking huge advantage of it. Rick's almost kind of brought it back with a couple of kills there, but in the end, you know, Luminosity does close out the round, and they needed that pistol just to survive. Now at least they can try to push this to a 7-11 score. Now you got yourself a game all of a sudden. It's quite close. Maybe they can make something happen from there. So that was a must-win, and they made it happen.
Yeah, absolutely critical. That sets Luminosity Gaming up for a couple more round wins. They're putting a pretty aggressive gambit going all the way out with 2 Galils on the buy, loading up with every grenade they can do. Let's look at the money. Yeah, everybody but Peter bought out full. Makes sense. Peter's saving up for that all.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you also want to try to get the SMGs in there as much as possible. Try to, you know, gain that money bonus for those kills, especially when, you know, you're going up against upgraded pistols only. It's good to get those SMGs, which was supposed to be kind of the buff that helped fix the OP-ness of the Tech 9 was SMGs, you know, up against pistols, and you're kind of seeing the inverse of that here. So we'll see. We are seeing the Terrorists kind of press into the site here, and they should be able to get the bomb plant no problem. But it is a 4-on-4. We did see Automatic get a kill, and Shazam also coming in. Uh-oh. Could get scary here.
Yeah, exactly. Devil Walk able to get the kill in checkers, but you got 2 rotating already from mid in vent room. They're going to walk right in, Automatic from above, and it's up to Peter all alone with Anger playing this outside position. Sight goes down, and Anger has to single-handedly retake the site. Gets the first one. Is Automatic going to stick it? No, he doesn't. Backs off. CZ 75. Pushes the issue, gets too aggressive. Looked like kind of a slow peek around the corner. Might have given the advantage to Anger.
That's still a scary round, though, for Luminosity to have it come down to a 1v1 in that situation.
Yeah.
Tempo Storm really almost kind of stole that round away, and that would have been devastating. That would have been forcing a double save out of Luminosity. That would have been, all of a sudden, 13-5. So that was really scary. But they did win it. It does, though, for the long term affect their economy. They have to rebuy a lot of guns here. So that means if Tempo Storm can win the opening gun round, that means they instantly force Luminosity into a save now, as opposed to if LG could have been more dominant these 2 rounds that they're winning pistol, maybe they still could have put together a buy if they lost the opening gun round. Now that's probably not going to be an option if, in fact, it comes to that situation.
Yeah, it looked like Tempo Storm actually gave up B on that 1 round, too. They were so heavily stacked in.
Right.
In
Just
mid.
as they are again, but stacked over to the A side of the map. You got to gamble on pistol rounds like this.
That's about it, yeah. You're going to see a big site execute flashes. Shazam knows what's going on, but he gets smoked off at heaven. That allows all 5 Ts to just walk into the site, pick up the bomb. No one's going to get hurt at any point. This is the beginnings of a huge B take.
Yeah, looks like they've already got in there. They've already got the bomb planted. We see Tempo Storm. I mean, there's a kit and armor to save if you're Rix here with the CZ. Everyone else, though, can afford to try to get some execute. Try to, like I said, further limit LG's economy. They know they did a lot of damage last round. They're looking to see if they can't do something similar this round, probably.
Yeah, there's a couple of picks right there. Roka and Shazam both going down. Automatic tries to do some work. Actually gets the better of Peter. That's a big kill right there. Stanislaw is going to go down too. Rick's trying to just hang on at the back. He gets pushed by Tease, fleeing the site. And there's another victory for Luminosity Gaming. They need to just hang on to this momentum. 7-11. Just a few points from tying it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Opening gun round, though, is going to tell us a lot here. As I said, limited economy here from the T side. If they lose this round, they're right back to saving. They don't have a lot of money pulled up, a lot of rebound. You got Peter and Devil walk down the $50 because of how things kind of went tight, especially on that second round of the half. So Tempo Storm still have a lot to gain by opening this round with the gun round. It's really, whoever wins this is probably going to get the next round, too, just because both teams' economies are pretty low.
Yeah, I'm looking at Luminosity Gaming. They're kind of doing a back and forth. They started working their way towards A, and now they rotate all the way. T-spawn goes the bomb. Dust, what exactly is going on with Lex and Anger back here?
Lining up some smokes.
Oh, there it is.
There's like some
It's
run
kind of a
throw smokes
delayed,
they had to do.
Yeah, delayed
mid.
take. I think they might have canceled their initial A take and then reset for a mid.
Or they had to go back and buy nades they forgot to buy. I'm not really sure what that was about.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Either way, they are going to try to run some type of mid tactic here. They do have Devil Walk lurking over towards B. Anger about to join them. They are out mid. They are working to Vince. They're going to get the mid B split, but there are 3 stack B. So even though they've given up mid, they have the appropriate numbers towards the site that's being executed.
Yeah, I saw Peter go out there in mid and take a single shot towards Roka at Highway. Might have given them the tell in terms of what's going on. Stanislaw in this really sneaky position. No one's going to check it, leaving Peter all alone.
Nice
Flash. Oh, that was beautiful. His crosshair was right on point, but flashed out. What you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, that's just a good initial hope for the Storm. Like I said, they rotated well. They had 3B. They kind of knew that mid-B split was coming. Shazam gets an opening pick, so does Automatic, and then Stanislaw comes out for the final 3 frags there, playing inside the B bomb site, just kind of, baiting, because there's already 2 showing themselves at B, so maybe they're probably not going to expect him to be tucked into the corner, and he throws a nice flash to catch Peter after the first 2 kills. So, well done. It instantly forces Luminosity to save, so Tempo Storm, great chance to extend this lead to 13-7 here and now.
Well, it is a bit of a comeback. Let's see, by hitting the tab button, it's been 3 rounds in favor of Luminosity Gaming. Tempo Storm finally taking the first CT-sided point. That's absolutely critical for them. We saw Tempo Storm. They did such a good job on CT side versus Virtus Pro. We know they can do it.
Yeah, right. So it is going to be, LG, like I said, having a decent round out of this, though. They kind of 4-spot up here what they could, and they do take it to the side, as we said. And it's going to be a 3-man retake coming in here from Stanislaw and company.
It's already a mild success for Luminosity Gaming. They were able to take the site. They were able to get the bomb down, so they've got some money. At worst, they'll break even on this. There's a beautiful 2K with the grenade, thanks to Automatic chucking stuff into the site. Evens it up, 2 versus 2. Lex finds himself in a bad position versus Automatic, and it's Pith all alone, trying to defend the bomb, push the smoke, wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a 4-spot from Luminosity. You even saw some guys like with just Tech 9s, trying to do what they could. Now, though, they
Yeah.
have. I mean, they can still get a buy though because of the bomb plan. So that at least they got the bomb plan that allows them to kind of start stabilizing their economy. So at least they can keep fitting in buys here. But you know, if they lose this round without a bomb plant, it's going to be tough trying to put a buy together next round, especially with a couple of guys at $0, one at $50. Even with the 3-round loss bonus coming in next round of like $2,400, you're asking a lot to try to get a buy together at that point. So this is like kind of a do or die round for Luminosity, I feel like.
Well, Shazam making mid-presence known, throwing a molly up on top of Boost, trying to keep Peter back. Peter's just hanging out back by Boost while we see a pretty default strategy for Luminosity.
Yeah, I mean, just really spreading the map. In fact, look at it, it's just like a straight line across the map, just really, really spread out, really, you know, default heavy, just looking for picks, especially Peter, trying to find optics into A. But it's going to be Pitt who finds it instead. Now they're going to explode on the A, but Rick's still holding it off. Bomb's still pretty far behind, and the rotation's already coming in here for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, that was a really good entry, but Rix was able to just hold this off. I think that the call's been made. Look, A's not looking very good. I think we've accidentally sold an A rotate. Let's start taking the bomb towards B, and you see Devil Walk scouting out.
And Tempo Storm didn't buy onto it. They don't see the continued pressure at A, so they're able to keep Automatic where he is. And Stanislaw is already pretty near Vince to quickly rotate to help Automatic over here at the B side of the map. But there is this window of time where Automatic doesn't have Stan's help, and he's in kind of a 1v2 right now. But he does get a kill anyhow.
Yeah, Molly and a headshot. Compliments of Automatic, sits in the corner. They know exactly where he is at this point, so Automatic is going to go down. Stanislaw stuck in a really bad spot. Vince, he's got a Molly on one side, then gets shot on the other.
Well
That's
done.
another win. Luminosity.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, LG getting some picks over at A, starting to cause that rotate, but the bomb was so far behind, getting to A was kind of delayed, so they knew, okay, they've had a lot of time to rotate. Let's think this out, maybe reassess, shift to the other side of the map. Tempo Storm still had decent positioning. They didn't really overcommit to the rotation to A. You still had, like I said, Stanislaw and Automatic over towards B. Automatic does win one duel, so it's still looking okay, but there at the end, you know, Lex and Pitt come up big for those final 3 frags to close out the round, and they needed that round. Their economy was so limited, and they've actually now forced Tempo Storm onto a save instead, and this is going to allow them an opportunity to try to, you know, jump back into the game.
Stanislaw getting a little bit aggressive, and Checker is going to stand just outside of this fire. They throw the molly. They think he's not there. He's able to get one kill before going down. That's really effective on an eco to be able to get that kill.
Yeah, I know, but actually now Tempo Storm has a man advantage on a save round here, and that's really, really dangerous. But Devil Walk at least evens it back up to 2-on-2. AK has been collected by Automatic.
Bomb's
They're
going
both
to
in
A,
B.
though. Look at this.
They're going to counter boost one Vince, though. Is Peter going to pick up on this?
Yeah, Peter's just walking out.
He hears it. He's good.
Yeah. Well, the bomb's planted by Devil Walk. Peter's holding the angle. He has Automatic now pinned in the corner. Automatic doesn't know Peter's out of the way, so he felt a little scared to poke his head out. Now the rotate down highway. Devil Walk probably has the call. He's just going to hide.
They smoked Peter out as well, so it's all off the Devil Walk really inside the site, but he does get the kill on the Shazam and finds Automatic. So well done by Devil Walk, kind of isolated by himself. And he's able to come up with the 2 kills. But again, I mean, these are rounds that Luminosity needs to be winning comfortably. And on the second round, after they won Pistol, it happened to them where it got real tight in a 1v1. And in that situation, it came down to, you know, a 2v2. So they're
on
really
an anti-eco.
Yeah, and that's they're not building up a good economy now because that's it's like as soon as Tempo Storm breaks them, they're going to be in tough shape unless they get a bomb plan.
Yeah, the economy is certainly shaky, but they're able to buy everything they need, including an AWP in Peter's hand on this round. And again, the default strat. 1, 2, and 2.
Yeah, they've been playing default pretty much this entire T side so far. Just looking for picks and trying to respond to the rotates appropriately after that. They are moving Peter's op around, though. Sometimes he's picking A, and this time he's going to be picking over towards the B side of the map. But, yeah, just very, very default. Whereas Tempo Storm was very much so execute heavy, like pretty much right off the start they knew exactly what they wanted to try to do, and then they implemented it immediately. Yeah, whereas you see Luminosity really taking their time here.
I think this might be the slowest play we've seen by Luminosity all T side.
Yeah, a couple of rounds ago, it's a pretty similar story. So like I said, they seem very default heavy, but now they're lining up something over here at A. Peter going to molly the Vince to clear a player out, which is in fact going to be Stanislaw, but sometimes he likes to smoke that molly and stay inside the Vince and catch people off guard, which might be the case this time around as well. But now we see the numbers of Luminosity shifting over towards A, Pitt inside Squeaky, everyone else lining up. Devil Walk just lurking B,
There's a
so
flash.
It's about to be an A hit, it looks like.
It's interesting. They didn't capitalize on that flash. Pitt doesn't run out Squeaky or anything. Might be trying to sell the idea of a fake. See Devil Walk working lurk on the far B side. There we go. Side entry, flashes out. Standard smokes.
Shazam quick flank, though. Look at how fast Shazam's going to flank this.
Yeah, you're going to see one at quad go down. Rix is all alone, pushes into the smoke with Shazam coming up behind. He gets taken down. Anger double checks the position, and we're left with Stanislaw all alone, stuck completely out in the open on a highway. What are you going to do?
I think Rix forced the issue a bit there. He probably should have waited for Shazam to be in better position to help him. If you're going to push that smoke forklift, sure, if Shazam can sweep in around the same time at A-Man, you actually have like a pinch going on, but a little bit off on the timing there. Really well done hit by Luminosity over at A. They got the picks. They held off the retake. They got some frags under their belts, and they put another round on the board. This time, finally, like a more comfortable round. And you look over, you know, Pitt, Peter, Lex really stepping up and playing well here, despite the fact that Anger's been having a tough game so far. When you look at Tempo Storm, though, once again, such a tight frag distribution, even as it was yesterday against Virtus Pro. Like I said, everyone really contributing on that side of the map.
It's a 3-round victory streak for Luminosity Gaming so far, getting ready to tie this thing up on an anti-eco. Shazam's going to go down very quickly. And let's see how this executes looking. Setting up for a solid A take with that second pick on A. All they need to do is walk in, but the bomb's been left all the way back. Peter has to rotate back and get it.
Yeah, and this has allowed Rix to push mid and actually get a kill and grab an AK. So, you know, decent stuff there. And can Luminosity stop any more damage from happening? Like I said, they've had some issues closing out these eco rounds like efficiently. I'm curious to see if this will be a different result.
Well, the sites belong to Luminosity for a long time. Peter finally walks in, planting the bomb. Stanislaw's going to push the issue around smoke, gets found out, taken down, and now we're left with Rix all alone, hiding in the B site, just trying to save. I think he already made that decision long before his teammates even died.
Yeah, he did pick up that AK at mid-garage. That is one gun they can throw into the next round. They're going to have plenty of money next round, however, but this is just saving them a little bit, you know? Being able to have an AK and a CZ next round without having to purchase it. It's not like Rix can do any damage at this point anyway, so might as well save a little bit of cash.
It's almost the opposite story of Tempo Storm versus Virtus Pro. This time around, Tempo Storm doing such a good job on T side and struggling. You see they've only taken 2 rounds throughout the entire CT half. They really need to turn it around, or they're going to lose their, not only their economic momentum, but they're going to lose their lead.
Their big lead that they had,
It was huge. What was the end of the first half again?
11-4.
11-4. Phenomenal. Yeah. Slightly T-sided sometimes on this on cash, but not by that much.
Yeah, like I said, typically people see this map as having a slight CT bias, as most maps in the rotation, but this is one of the maps where I feel like there's a good amount of terrace opportunity. Maps like Cobble, really Dust 2 is probably the biggest example of that. But, you know, this map in Cobble also has some good terrace side opportunity, and both teams so far exploiting that. We're seeing Luminosity once again kind of gathering up over here at A, with the bomb still quite far behind on Lex. So once again, it's very default with a slight lean towards the A side of the map for now.
Well, it looks like the bomb is going to work its way slightly towards A. Flashes. Luminosity just toying with Tempo Storm at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing like a big difference in styles, you know, doing like the more standard A hits instead of like the fast one that Tempo Storm like to run. This time they run the smokes to get Devil Walk slipped in the mid, but it's at a lurk position. They're still looking to do the heavy A execute here against Rix and Roka.
Ooh, Stanislaw from Vents jumps out, takes Devil Walk down quickly. They know that's the lurk player, so it's probably not going to be there as the execute happens at A. Takes a long time to get any kills. Finally, Lex and Devil Walk doing a little bit of work. The site doesn't go down, though, thanks to Automatic holding the angle, charging through smoke, but it's too many frags and all over.
Yeah, like I said, you see the difference in styles. You see Tempo Storm's A hit, like very fast, that fast style, like the Envy style. But you're seeing Luminosity just do the more standard stuff, but good Molotovs, flushing people out of positions. They've been able to get some good entries into that side of the map. Lex has particularly been playing well, actually, on this side of the map. A guy who catches a lot of flack from the community. Everyone always talks about minus Lex plus somebody else. Always wondering how the heck does Lex survive these roster moves.
He stopped fragging.
Yeah, he's actually doing quite well, and he's been one of their better fraggers even at ESWC. I mean, granted, the team's been doing bad overall, but he's actually been fragging okay, to be honest. There's been other people who have been kind of lacking. But in this game, they're starting to get production out of Pitt and Peter, and actually Lex is kind of filling that void that usually you'd hope Anger would be there. So this is good. They're getting back into the game, and look, another A hit comes in. They have to pick, and they could tie this thing up.
Yeah, maybe a little bit slow coming out. The smokes get lined up and dropped. That's going to smoke Rix off. Nothing he can do but beware the AWP of Shazam.
Yeah, he tries to re-peek, but he's going to get caught there. So Shazam now able to win that duel after the re-peek. Rotate still coming in here, but so far being held off. Pitt has the AWP, actually picks up from Shazam. He will drop it for the AK at the end of the day, but they're going to tie this thing up 13-all.
Yeah, and look, Devil Walk goes all the way back towards T, peeks the corner and sees Stanislaw, who is just working his way back. wanting to save, and it just wasn't meant to be. We've got a tied game on map 1 Cache Tempo Storm. I didn't see it coming after the first half at all.
Yeah, like I said, they're just not able to hold off these executes. It's really all Luminosity's really doing. I mean, they kind of have Devil Walk lurking B or lurking mid, but they're just straight up plowing the A bomb site, and Tempo Storm just not able to hold. Like, Shazam's getting a couple picks here with the op. You see Rix and Roka getting a kill here or there, but it seems like Luminosity's always one man ahead in the trading game. And they're holding off the retake quite well also. Yeah,
and you can't do it like that. Tempo Storm thinking, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're already biasing the A site, but check out this 4-man stack on A for Tempo Storm. I think they're expecting it again.
This could be dangerous if Luminosity keeps doing the same thing, because most of their mollies usually are the flush out quad and corner. No one's playing there for Tempo Storm. They're playing inside the site, where they'll be pretty much unaffected by these Molotovs that Luminosity's been implementing. So this is actually really well done. So it's playing positions where those Molotovs they've been seeing every round aren't going to have an impact.
Well,
same tactic as last round, though. Same double smokes at mid. This time, Devil Walk is bringing the bomb A, though. He's not going to be lurking mid.
Yeah, for a moment there, I thought that Luminosity was shifting towards another site. They played it so slow. Tempo Storm, stoic. They're not moving, and now they've already got 5 people on the site. Here's the execute. This could be absolutely huge. Bunch of kills. Left side of the screen just lights up for Luminosity Gaming.
Wow.
They don't care about the stack. No respect.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge stack, but...
Did you hear that?
Yeah, we did hear, maybe through our mics, we said, I know you were stacking, but anyway. Like, yeah, I mean, I thought the stack was a good idea, given it's a save round. You know they've been hitting A, and like I said, you're avoiding the Molotovs and nades, but still, LG just comes up with the frags. They come up with the entries, and I mean, like I said, they're getting a lot of production, especially out of Lex, Peter, and Pitt, this particular half especially. Even Devil Walk's been able to step it up in comparison to the last half.
14-13 current score line. Again, setting up for an A take, and you see Pitt just walking in, taking the headshot through the wall.
Yeah, Pitt's
leaving Roka alone.
Pitt's doing well. I mean, he really picked up his game starting at ESWC with some individual performances, and here in this particular map, he's done quite well for his team. Like, his T side by itself has been like 15 frags or something like that. Like, he's playing really, really well right now.
Well, right now we're looking at Devil Walk setting up to throw some stuff onto the B site, see if he happens to hit Stanislaw. Stanislaw backs off into the corner, knows they're coming. Some pre-nades, automatic, already in a nice rotate position, flashing for his teammate. There's side entry. Devil Walk finds Stanislaw quickly, automatic with a quick trade. Smokes are down. This should at least be a bomb plant.
Yeah, they didn't get that smoke fast enough to stop Automatic from being on a crossfire with Stanislaw, so that was a player they kind of lost because the smoke was a bit delayed, but they still do have the bomb down. They do have a 3 versus 3, and let's see if they can continue to hold this retake, try to push this to a map point. It's looking pretty good so far.
You see 2 stack that have it, including the op of Shazam. Automatic down low, gets 1, gets 2. Can he find the 3rd in checkers? Sees him, nice flick game. Able to walk onto the site, sticks it out, and Shazam showing no love.
Yeah, well, she's actually showing him love.
He's showing
he was actually giving
maybe a little bit
love.
too much love.
Yeah, maybe inappropriate.
Let's keep it PG, Shazam. Come on.
Anyway,
wham bam Shazam.
Yeah, I feel like I said, they're gonna be hurt in the fact that they didn't put that smoke down a bit earlier to allow Automatic not to get that trade kill at Stanislaw. That would have gave him actually a numbers advantage rather than an even situation. Then Automatic comes in on that retake with 2 kills. Really, really well done there. Now it's tied back up 14-all. As Tempo Storm looking, they don't want to allow Luminosity to make the comeback victory here. They played such a good first half. They've really allowed Tempo Storm a lot here. They really want to try to close out this game.
Well, for the first time in several rounds, we see Luminosity beginning with a bit of a B bias and possibly making the gamut towards mid. You see those crisscross smokes come out.
Yep.
Devil Walk and Lex Walk, but Stanislaw in the powerful position. There it is. 1 kill.
That is big for him to be inside the vents here. They know he's in the corner, though. They have a trap, but they still can't kill him. Finally, they do. Took a while, but it's given so much time for the rotation to come in. Automatic playing Heaven, but they're getting the molly on Heaven. They're smoking off lower CT, so they're getting up really good nades to hold off retakes. But the bomb, it's actually down over towards Vince.
That's
huge.
Good.
And they can't get back up there except for rotating back around the mid-garage.
Yeah, and Roka's right there waiting. Pitt's actually able to find the better of him and also gets a 2K taking Shazam. Mid-control belongs to Luminosity Game. They've evened it out 2v2, and now look, Rix and Automatic fanning out. They don't know where to go. This is big. Another kill.
Yeah, this is crazy that they somehow recover this, even with the bomb being down. Such a terrible spot.
Ooh,
They've been
Ricks.
able to somehow get back into this here. Now Ricks is stuck in a 1v2. He's playing highway. Pitt's going to cross into the site. Ricks not going to fire here. Pitt gets over towards quad. Ricks just waiting. Comes up highway, grabs
surprise.
the kill. 1v1, though. Anger needs to clutch this to get it map point.
Yeah, he's peeking around the corner. Look how close they are. Who's going to peek? Who's going to peek? Anger peeks, gets the headshot. And that is 15-14 with the bomb plant at the very end.
I mean, I tell you what, Anger had a really tough first half. He was 2-9, and this half he's 12-6, really stepping up. The big name, though, has to be Pitt. You know, last half he was 8-10. This half 19-7 to top frag for the team at 27-17. So pretty much all of his frags have really come from this T side, especially on those heavy A entries. He was big on collecting those kills. So everyone really did kick it up a notch here for Luminosity on the T side after kind of a struggle on CT. And now it comes down to the final round. All 30 rounds played out. Will we see LT? Will we see a slight win for LG? With the bye that Tempo Storm has, they're definitely in the disadvantage.
Well, Tempo Storm, they have to force it. It is match points setting up for what looks like another A take. I tell you, Luminosity Gaming, they love the A side. It's working.
Yeah, like I said, this really standard stuff here from Luminosity, very default-oriented, but then they just develop into a very heavy site hit, and this time it's going to be the A side of the map. Pitt trying to fit like it's going to be a B split by miling off the vents like they're trying to do mid-control, but they're definitely going to try to plow the A-bomb side here. They're also going to flush Roka out as well with some nice
Here they
mollies.
come.
Yeah.
Walking into the site, flashes all over. Ricks is going to get taken down quickly along with the truck side player. That's a site take. Roka, I think they know he's here.
Yeah, he stays
Forklift.
alive, though, and he gets 2 kills, and he grabs an AK, and he gets Anger down low HP as well. So, I mean, this retake has a lot of weight to it. That nade going to come in. That's probably going to
That
kill
could.
Anger. That's it.
Yep.
Oh, Roka comes up so big right now. Can he
Peter's
close it
looking
out?
the wrong way. Roka not able to finish
Wow.
the job, but that's what the pincer move is all about. Shot in the back, shot in the front, and Shazam with the defuse.
What a big play from Roka there to kind of save the day. It looked like Luminosity was going to close it out. It was a save, like it wasn't a save round, obviously. It's the last round of the half, but they didn't have much to work with on the CT side. But Roka comes up big and at least ensures the OT. I mean, you have to be a bit disappointed though if you're Tempo Storm. You had an 11-4 first half, and then you allowed
You
Luminosity
think you've got
to
it in the
creep back
bag,
in.
right? 11-4. Hey guys, this is easy. We're good at CT side, right? After that Virtus Pro game,
Right.
and it just.
I mean, here's the
happen.
thing. Like, Luminosity, just like I said, they kicked it up a notch on T side. They were getting way more production out of players, especially like Pitt. He just went off on the second half, you know, near 20 frags alone just in that second half on T side. Also, I just like Luminosity's A hits. Like, yeah, it's a bit more standard, not as like that fast like Tempo Storm uses. It's a bit more common, like kind of what you're used to see. But those Molotovs are very effective on flushing people out of positions, and you could see Luminosity using those to get people in awkward space, and then following that up with the fact that Pitt was really shooting well, really entering well. Lex is having actually like a really good game. Peter's op has been pretty on point.
Today.
So they and they even got Anger, who super struggled in the first half, to come out and go pretty well in the second half in his own right. So they really just got their team back together in the second half. So I want to give credit where credit's due.
Look at the headshots coming out of Devil Walk right there with 40%. He's leading his team on that end. He's been playing Lurk pretty much the entire game over here. He either gets taken out really quickly, or he pops out and gets the quick headshot kill.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I want to give credit where credit's due. Luminosity did put up a pretty solid T-side there in the second half. Really well done executions. Very disciplined play, playing together, getting production out of some of their big fraggers. But also it does come down to Tempo Storm just not being able to close out a game. They had a huge lead in. They really had some struggles there on the CT side. They would get kills here and there, but I always felt like they either were always a man down the trading game, or it was an even situation. They couldn't retake it. Like, some of their retakes were not as coordinated as you'd hope for.
Yeah.
And that one example was where Shazam's on a flank A main, and Ricks just tries to push a smoke forklift before Shazam can even get in position to pinch with him. Yeah. So there was a couple of times on retakes where they weren't as coordinated as they needed to be, which hopefully comes in time as they gain experience together as a team. But that's always the hardest thing is kind of just coordinating those retakes. That can be one of the more subtle and harder things to do as a team when you're not used to communicating through those situations, and that did hurt him a lot in the second half.
I'm a little bit surprised that Luminosity Gaming. I'm a little bit surprised that Luminosity Gaming wasn't shut down more on A site, because they bias that A site so much. I mean, Tempo Storm Eventually, they caught on and they stacked it, but it was on an eco round, so they had the gun disadvantage, and Luminosity was still able to walk in. You'd think at some point Tempo Storm would start really stacking the site or changing up their positions. Instead, they just let Luminosity kind of walk in and set up a standard A take round after round after round.
Yeah, and I'm just curious to see what will kind of change in overtime. If we'll see more of the same of what we saw in the regulation, or will teams start kind of changing things up to play some mind games. But I think we'll take a quick break here, but we will be back for that overtime very, very shortly, so definitely stay tuned.